Hi children, welcome you all for the today's English class. Today in this session we are going to see Unit 6 poem. The title of the poem is The Duck and the Kangaroo. Children, the author of this poem is Edward Lear. Let's see about the author now. Edward Lear. His year was 1812 to 1888. Edward Lear was an English artist, illustrator, author and poet, and he is now known for his literary nonsense in poetry and prose. He has been played in radio dramas by in The Need for Nonsense and in By the Coast of Coromandel. Children, some more extra points of Edward Lear. He is chiefly known for his popular nonsense, poetry and prose, especially limericks, a form that he popularized. He also composed and published 12 musical sittings of Tennyson's poetry. Children, that's all from the author. Let's move on to the characters of the today's poem. As the title of the poem is about the duck and the kangaroo, yes, today our characters also of the poem are the kangaroo and the duck. Kangaroo is a very gentle animal and it is a native of Australia. It carries its young called joey in a pouch in front of its stomach. The kangaroo is herbivorous like a deer or a cow. Then moving on to the duck is a common fowl. Fowl means a wild bird often raised for its meat. A close cousin of the duck is the Indian swan with its long and shapely elegant neck, while they were appear to be cerni. Cerni means quiet on the water. Their webbed feet are actually paddling vigorously underwater to keep afloat and moving on land. Children, let's listen to the summary of the poem now. Children, this poem, The Duck and the Kangaroo, it's a humorous poem about two good friends, the duck and the kangaroo, who want to go on a long pleasure trip. The duck, who is more keen on the trip as she finds her life a bore in the nasty pond, asked the kangaroo to let her sit on his back. She wished she too could hop like the kangaroo. The kangaroo took time to agree to her request, but with the condition. What was the condition? He told her that her feet were wet and cold. They might give rheumatism to the kangaroo. Rheumatism means a disease of the bones. So the duck assured him that he had already bought 4 pairs of woolen socks and a clock. At last, finally, the kangaroo happily set out on the journey with the duck, who he made to sit at the end of the tail to keep the balance. Together, they went round merrily on the world tour 3 times. Children, that's all from the summary of the poem. Now, let's listen to the poem in singing.
To the kangaroo, good gracious, how you hop over the fields and the water too, as if you never would stop. hop like you, said the duck to the kangaroo. Please give me a ride on your back, said the duck to the kangaroo. I would sit quite still and say nothing but wag the whole of the long day through. And we would go to the D and the Jelly Bowly, over the land and over the sea. Please take me a ride, oh do, said the duck to the kangaroo. Said the kangaroo to the duck, this requires some little reflection. Perhaps on the whole it might bring me luck. And there seems but one objection, which is if you let me speak so bold. Your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold, and would probably give me the rheumatic, said the kangaroo. Said the duck as I sat on the rocks, I have thought over that completely, and I bought 4 pairs of worsted socks, which fit my web feet neatly. And to keep out the cold, I have bought a cloak, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. Said the kangaroo, I'm ready, all in the moonlight pale. But to balance me well, dear duck, sit steady and quite at the end of my tail. So away they went with a hop and a bound, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round. And who so happy, oh, who, as the duck and the kangaroo, as the duck and the kangaroo, as the duck and the kangaroo.
Children, have you enjoyed the poem? Yes. Now let's read the poetry lines one by one with its meaning from our textbook Honeydew. Children, before getting into the poem, let's read the warm-up. Here you have the title of the poem, The Duck and the Kangaroo. Look at the warm-up here. 2 friends, the duck and the kangaroo, are about to set out on a long pleasure trip. The kangaroo, though happy to carry the duck all the way on the tip of his tail, is weary of her wet feet. What will the duck do to make the kangaroo feel comfortable over land and sea? Let us find out how they go about it. Children, that's it from the warm-up. Children, now we're going to read the poetry lines stanza-wise, and we are going to see the explanations of the stanzas one by one. Let's read the first stanza here. Take your textbook, page number 97 and 98. Children, take your textbook. Follow me. Keep your fingers. So, look at the first stanza. Said the duck to the kangaroo, "Good gracious, how you hop over the fields and the water too, as if you never would stop. My life is a bore in this nasty pond, and I long to go out in the world beyond. I wish I could hop like you." Children, that's the first stanza. Let's see the explanation of the first stanza now. Said the duck to the kangaroo, "Good gracious, how you hop over the fields and water too, as if you never would stop. My life is a bore in this nasty pond. Nasty means unpleasant or bad. And I long means dearly wish to go in the world beyond. I wish I could hop like you, said the duck to the kangaroo. Children, in the first stanza, the duck is awestruck. Awestruck means wondered to see the movement of the kangaroo. It expressed that the kangaroo could hop continuously over the field and water bodies. But the duck's life was boring as it is remained in the pond all the time. It wished to see the world beyond the limits of the pond. So it wishes that it could also hop like the kangaroo. Do you know, children? Due to its extremely long and powerful hind legs, the kangaroo can hop and leap great distance, perhaps 40 to 50 feet at the time. It uses the tail to balance itself in flight. Flight means jumping. So children, that's all from the explanation of the first stanza. Let's move on to the second stanza now. Children, let's read on the second stanza. Keep your fingers and follow me. Please give me a ride on your back, said the duck to the kangaroo. I would sit quite still and say nothing but quack the whole of the long day through, and we'd go to the Dee and the Jelly-Bolly, over the land and over the sea. Please take me on a ride, oh do, said the duck to the kangaroo. Children, now let's see the explanation of the second stanza. Please give me a ride on your back, said the duck to the kangaroo. I would sit quite still and say nothing but quack. Quack means sound made by the duck the whole of the long day through. And we'd go to the Dee and the Jelly-Bolly, over the land and over the seas. Please take me for a ride, oh do, said the duck to the kangaroo. Children, in the second stanza, the duck requests the kangaroo to give it a ride on its back. It promised that it would sit quietly and would just quack all day. The duck lists the place that they would visit as Dee and Jelly-Bolly. These are the places that the duck want to visit. It adds that they would hop over the land and the seas. Children, that's all from the explanation of the second stanza. Let's move on to the third stanza now. See the first line. Follow me, children. Said the kangaroo to the duck. This requires a little reflection. Perhaps, on the whole, it might bring me luck. And there seems but one objection, which is, if you'll let me speak so bold, your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold, and would probably give me the rheumatis, said the kangaroo. That's all from the reading. Let's move on to the explanation. Said the kangaroo to the duck. This requires some little reflection. Little reflection means it requires me to think it over. Perhaps, on the whole, it might bring me luck. And there seems but one objection, which is, if you let me speak so bold. Let me speak so bold means, if you will permit me to say so, your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold, and would probably give me the rheumatis. Rheumatis means rheumatism, that means an illness that causes pain in muscles and the joints, said the kangaroo. So, children, in the third stanza, the kangaroo replied that it had to think over it. The idea could be good for him, but he had an objection. What was the objection? That the duck's wet and cold feet could give him body pains. And that's all from the explanation of the third stanza. Let's move on to the fourth stanza now. Children, let's read the fourth stanza here. Look at the stanza and follow me. Said the duck, as I sat on the rocks, I have thought over that completely. And I bought 4 pairs of roasted socks. And I bought 4 pairs of roasted socks which fit my web feet neatly. Which fit my web feet neatly. And to keep out the cold, I have, the short form is I bought a clock. And every day a cigar I'll smoke. All to follow my own dear true. All to follow my own dear true. Love of a kangaroo. Love of a kangaroo. Children, let's see the explanation of the fourth stanza here. Said the duck, as I sat on the rocks, I have thought over that completely. And I bought 4 pairs of roasted socks. Roasted means a high quality type of woolen cloth. Socks, it's a material worn on the foot. So it is roasted socks which fit my web feet completely. And to keep out the cold, I bought a clock. Clock means a sleeveless outdoor overgarment that hangs loosely from the shoulders. So it's a garment, loose garment that was worn from the shoulders. And every day a cigar I'll smoke, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. Children, in the fourth stanza, here the duck said that as it sat on the rocks during the day, it had thought over it. In order to avoid that, the duck had bought 4 pairs of roasted socks which fitted its web-shaped feet well. And in order to stay warm, it would wear a clock and also smoke a cigar every day. The duck would do all this to protect the kangaroo as it was a beloved. That's all from the explanation of the fourth stanza, children. Now let's move on to the fifth stanza. Look at the fifth stanza here. Keep following. Said the kangaroo, I am ready. Said the kangaroo, I am ready. All in the moonlight pale. All in the moonlight pale. But to balance me well, dear duck, sit steady and quite at the end of my tail. So away they went with a hop and a bound, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round. And who so happy, oh who, as the duck and the kangaroo, by Edward Lear. Children, let's see the explanation here for the fifth stanza. Said the kangaroo, I am ready, all in the moonlight pale. But to balance me well, dear duck, sit steady and quite at the end of my tail. So away they went with a hop and a bound, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round. And who so happy? Oh happy, as the duck and the kangaroo. So here in the third stanza, children, the kangaroo was satisfied with the duck's response and got ready for the ride. At night, when the sky was filled with the pale light of the moon, they started their trip with a hop. The kangaroo asked the duck to hold it firmly Firmly means tightly, and they traveled around the world 3 times. Both of them enjoyed each other's company. Children, at last, the poet concludes that nobody in the world was as happy as the duck and the kangaroo. That's the end of this simple, funny tale, the poem written by Edward Lear. Children, now we are going to move on to the next part of the poem, that is poetical device. Poetic devices that was used in this poem, the duck and the kangaroo. Children, the first poetic device is that alliteration. Alliteration means the repetition of consonant sounds in the consecutive lines. Children, for example, look at the line here, second line. Good gracious, how you hop. So, g, it's repeated in the same line, and how hop, it's repeated in the same line. As the poem contains 5 stanzas, there are a lot of alliterations and repetitions are there. So look at the second stanza. In the second stanza again there is alliteration. See to the third line. In the third line you have sit quiet, still and say. Here sir sound is repeated again. So here alliteration, poetic device alliteration was used. In the third stanza, here you have another alliteration. See the second line, requires. This requires some little reflection. So consonant r sound is repeated, and same in the fourth line, might bring me. So here m consonant m sound is repeated, and the same like in the fifth line also, speak so. Sir, consonant sir sound is repeated. So here in third stanza you have alliteration here. Children, in fourth stanza, see the fourth line, which fit my web. So which and verb sound is repeated, and the same way in the fifth line also, cold I have bought a clock. Cold clock. So caw sound repeated again. So here you have alliteration. In the fifth stanza, here look at the second line, but to balance. So b sound repeated. The same line, dear duck, d sound repeated, and in the fifth line, went with. So v sound is repeated. So all over in 5 stanzas we have a lot of alliterations in the poem. Moving on to the next poetic device, that is repetition. Repetition means the repeating of same sentence again in the stanza. It is repetition. So look at the example here in the first stanza. In the first line, said the duck to the kangaroo. The same sentence is repeated again in the last line, said the duck to the kangaroo. So here the poetic device repetition was used. Children, our next poetic device is anaphora. So look at the 6th and 7th line. Both the lines starting with the same word and. When a word starting repeatedly with the consecutive lines, then it is known as anaphora. So here in the 4th stanza, the poetic device anaphora was used. Children, our next poetic device was enjambment. What is meant by enjambment? When the same sentence continues in 2 or more lines without any punctuation, then it is known as enjambment. So for the poetic device enjambment, here you have 2 examples in the stanza 4. So look at the third line, and I bought 4 pairs of roasted socks which fit my web feet neatly. So see here in the third there is no punctuation, and it continues to the 4th line without any punctuation. So here poetic device enjambment is used. And the same way here in the last 2 lines, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. In these lines, there is no punctuation and the line was continuing to the next line. So, here the poetic device enjambment was used. The final and last poetic device which was used in the poem is refrain. Refrain means when a phrase or a sentence that repeated again and again with a sort of rhythm and rhyme to the poem to add some music to the poem is called as refrain. So the poetic device refrain has been used throughout the poem. It adds the music effect to the poem, so it is called as refrain. So here you have example, said the duck to the kangaroo, had been repeated so many times, right? Yes. So here this sentence adds a musical effect to the poem. So here the poetic device refrain was used. And that's all from the poetic device and from the poem The Duck and the Kangaroo, written by Edward Lear.